Have you ever heard of a stone that bleeds? Not a trick, not a painting, but a real rock that oozes red when it's broken or cut. From ancient temples in India to mysterious quarries in the Middle East, this phenomenon has fascinated scientists, geologists, and believers alike. Is it just iron oxide in groundwater? Or something much deeper, as maybe even supernatural? Welcome to the mystery of the stone that bleeds when cut. A story that blurs the line between geology and legend. First discovery. Our story begins centuries ago. In a small Indian village, workers breaking rocks for construction noticed something strange. When their tools struck a certain type of stone, red liquid seeped from the cracks. Terrified, they stopped immediately. Word spread fast. Locals began to call it Rakt Pashan, the bloodstone. Priests declared it sacred. Some believed the rocks contained the lifeblood of the earth itself. But later, similar stones appeared elsewhere, in Egypt, in Brazil, even in remote corners of Africa. Could all these bleeding stones be connected? The science behind the blood modern scientists stepped in. When analyzed, the blood turned out not to be blood at all, but water rich in iron oxide and silica. When exposed to air, these minerals oxidize, creating a red, blood-like liquid. In some cases, bacteria living within the rock produce pigments that intensify the color. It's natural chemistry, yes, but the effect is startlingly lifelike. Even knowing the science, seeing a stone bleed in front of you can send chills down your spine. Ancient legends. In ancient times, people had their own explanations. In India, they said the stones were formed from cursed soil where a great battle once stained the earth red. In Greece, philosophers believed they were the tears of the gods, turned solid over centuries. In Egypt, priests saw them as sacred relics of the underworld, a bridge between the living and the dead. To this day, certain temples keep such stones sealed away, worshipped as protectors of divine power. Modern mysteries. One of the most famous bleeding stones lies in Tiruchirappalli, India. When cracked open, it releases a dark red liquid, but only during certain seasons. Geologists found that rainwater seeps into pores of the rock, mixing with minerals inside. But locals believe the rock itself is alive, that it breathes and bleeds when disturbed. Another case was recorded in Syria, where workers abandoned a quarry after red fluid flowed from freshly cut marble. Tests showed natural iron deposits, but villagers still whisper that the stones carry ancient souls. Symbolism of the bleeding earth. Across cultures, the idea of a living earth runs deep. The Greeks called her Gaia, Mother Earth. The Aztecs offered blood to the soil to keep the world alive. In some traditions, when the earth bleeds, it's a sign of imbalance, a cry from nature itself. So when people see a stone bleed, it taps into something primal, the belief that the world around us is not just matter, it's alive. Art, faith, and fear. In the modern era, bleeding stones have inspired art and fear alike. Painters recreate the imagery as symbols of sacrifice. Filmmakers use them in horror tales. And in science museums, samples of these stones still mesmerize visitors. Some believers collect fragments for good luck. Others refuse to touch them at all. Even knowing its chemistry, the sight feels spiritual, even unsettling. Because deep down, we still want to believe the earth has a heartbeat. The eternal question, does the stone that bleeds truly live? Maybe not in the biological sense, but perhaps in another. Every rock tells a story. Formed under pressure, heat, and time, they carry the memory of the planet itself. And maybe that's what we see when one bleeds, the earth revealing its hidden pulse. So, the next time you see a rock glimmering red in sunlight, remember, it may not just be rust. It could be a small reminder that our planet is alive in ways we're only beginning to understand. If you enjoyed this journey into Earth's hidden mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from around the world.